Welcome to LaQuita's Toolbox, where we deliver relevant content in the form of tools that empower entrepreneurs to elevate personally and professionally. Good is only good until greater is envisioned. You know there's another level in you. Here we discuss the tools to get you there. Lean in as LaQuita and her guests present you with strategies and insight for unlocking your full potential to realize your boldest
Welcome back to another amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox. I am your host, LaQuita Mondley, and I am definitely excited today. I have such an amazing guest in the studio with me today, guys. So you that are returning listeners, you know the drill. Get something to write with and something to write on, because Mr. Andrew, the CEO and founder of Parade Deck, he was coming on board today, and he's going to drop some gems for those of you, especially my followers that are in our military community. You don't want to miss this episode. So stop what you're doing and get ready to find out about all that Andrew is doing and how the Parade Deck community has been such a blessing to those of us that are in the military community. And you might be saying, well, LaQuita, I'm not in the military, so why I care what Andrew got to say? You probably know and love someone that knows someone that is in the military community, whether you're retired, active duty. I did my time and got out because these people are crazy. I'm a spouse, just like you might fall into many different categories. You guys want to make sure, as entrepreneurs, you want to make sure that you do not miss this episode. But before we roll into everything that Andrew has to say, let me take a moment to thank our sponsors at Covenant Press. Covenant Press is a faith-based Christian apparel and accessory shop that allows us as believers to shop online for clothing and accessories that allow us to show the love of Jesus Christ. Go out to www.covenant-press.com. Again, that's www.covenant-press.com. Shop until you drop, but don't click off those pop-ups too quickly, because you can grab some valuable discount codes to place in the appropriate slot at checkout to receive savings on your purchase at Covenant Press. And best of all, they are a military-owned business. The owners of Covenant Press are active duty Air Force, great guys there. Appreciate their love and support. Go out to Covenant Press today, you all, and shop until you drop. Andrew, thank you so much. How are you doing? Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Honor to be here. And that great opening. I'm going to go check out that website afterwards, because I'm a believer, and that's part of my story. And I'm always looking for Christian clothing, and it's kind of hard to find. So thanks for sharing that. So
no problem. They've been sponsoring my podcast from the beginning, within the first 10 episodes. They were like, hey, we'd like to partner. How can we partner? And I'm thinking, oh, wow. Okay. Praise the Lord. Yes. So let's do this. But yeah, there's some great couple, active duty Air Force. They're currently stationed in the UK, actually, doing some great ministry work there. So wonderful entrepreneur. So like yourself, I'm always looking for military owned and operated businesses, small businesses, because small businesses keep our economy, they keep our world turning. So I'm always looking for something local, something military, something Christian based to put my dollars in. So, and they are definitely a great company. But look, I'm gonna stop talking because I talk a lot. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the Toolbox audience and tell us more about who you are and what you do.
Gosh. Well, thanks again. I am Andrew. I'm the CEO and founder of ParadeDeck.com. I am a veteran Marine Corps. I was enlisted and an officer. I've been an entrepreneur probably my entire life. I sold greeting cards in 8th grade. I had a paper route. I've always been entrepreneurial, trying new things, ideation, creating things. And so, I've done that now. I just turned 55. So I'm hoping, you always say, I hope this is my last big business. Like, I hope this is it. But it never really works out that way.
No, it's not gonna work out like that.
I know. But I'm a believer, Christian. I put everything into what God has done for me, and He's brought me through a tremendous amount of life. From all the struggles I've gone through and the consequences that resulted from that, but still bringing me, I'll just say opportunity and blessings and favor. And so every day I'm really focusing on what is my purpose that God has given me, and how am I pointing my purpose back to Him? And so Parade Deck is my way of helping support and amplify the voice of others, whether, we do focus a lot on the military because that's kind of my niche, but it's open to anyone. We've got designers, we have a rapper, we have an NFTer, we've got obviously military, we've got athletics, we've got just people who write books. We've got people who are championing criminal justice reform with reentry and their podcast. So we've got a very diverse, amazing group of influencers and creators on the Parade Deck. In fact, between all of us, we have 5.8 million followers and subscribers. And that's really why I created the Parade Deck, is to create that audience that, no, I can't reach out to 5.8 million, people for you, but as a community, we can. And when we collectively have messages and a voice, that really is. And look at, 75 creators, 5.8 million. Can you imagine once we have more, the power,
the potential?
Voice? Yeah.
Yes, the potential is unlimited.
So that's me. I live in Washington, D.C. I'm big into marketing, branding, helping creators like yourself, influencers. How do we promote you? How do we give you opportunities? How do we help you monetize? How do we really connect you with other creators? I think that's probably been the biggest takeaway from the Parade Deck, is not, hey, I can help you make money, or I can help you get more viewers or downloads and things like that. It's, hey, meet Joey or meet Mario or meet Shelly, and you guys connect, and all of a sudden there's this amazing growth of knowledge and sharing. So I think, I'm not going to try to predict the future of Parade Deck, but that's going to be a big component of it, is that networking part.
Listen, y'all, I probably am a little biased because I'm one of the creators on the Parade Deck network, but it is such a blessing. And, as a lifelong entrepreneur myself, I've discovered that the power is in the community. Mm-hmm. Your network, in my book, I wrote a book last year called Redefining Success, 8 Tools that I use to develop a growth mindset. And in one of the chapters in the book, I talk specifically about the power of our network. And our network determines our net worth. We may be talking about, whether dollars, euros, pounds, crones, whatever your currency is. If you're looking at your accounts right now, where you are, whether it's a little bit or a lot, if you look across the network of people who you work with closely or in close relationship with, you can see the impact in your bank account. And when I initially was learning that, it was kind of like, that's kind of sketchy. You don't want to be friends with somebody because of their money, but that's not it. When you, like you were saying, we can't help everybody, but we all have someone in our network that can be of value to someone else in our network. And no, they may not be, saying, hey, I'm your next $10,000 donor or $100,000 donor or $1 million donor. But if they have an idea where you're stuck and they say, okay, well, try this, this, and this. Oh, that could open the door for you. Like, your network really determines your net worth, because the people that surround you are either going to build you up or they're going to tear you down. And the creators on the Parade Deck have definitely helped to increase me from day one, from day one, to help with with my business. And one of the things that's going on right now that's been a blessing to me in the network is some of the courses that are available. And Joey's course is one of those courses that's available to those of us that are partnered in the community. And he's sharing his knowledge to help us to get better. Your network is important. It is amazing. And if you're military, prior service, know somebody, or you're a spouse, you want to run on out to Parade Deck. The information will be in the show notes. You don't want to miss that. You want to run out to Parade Deck and check out Parade Deck and partner with the Parade Deck to help you grow in your capacity as a creator. So, Andrew, I want to talk a little bit more about why the military is your sweet spot, and it's kind of precious to me too.
They keep pulling us back in.
They keep exactly like it's.
Yeah.
We've been a part of it so long. I don't think we could function without it. That honestly, but because it's in you. But there's so many young service members, and it doesn't matter whether you're officer or enlisted. So many young service members and their spouses that want to be creators or want to be entrepreneurs, but think that their military service is a stumbling block. Can you speak to them as to how that's just not the case?
So it's kind of ironic because just this morning I talked to an active duty young lady. I won't tell you her name yet, but she was on Instagram and she was promoting a new podcast and that she had just started. And the name of it was because I'm Marine Corps and it kind of related to the Marine Corps. She's Marine Corps. So like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I noticed she was new. She was just getting into it. I listened to one of her episodes. She was like, I'm new. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm like, that is the perfect candidate for the Parade Deck community where we can help her grow. And so I talked to her today, and she did bring up those barriers or perceived barriers. Like, she's like, I've always been afraid to go to do a podcast. And now I'm going to kind of speak for her. So don't hold her to these words. But some of the friends that we have in common that are female podcasters who are in the military, active duty, suffer from bullying, from not fitting into a guy's community, the male dominated
that's a real thing in the military. That's a real thing. Yes.
So I'm not going to take credit for this. It was a God thing, but I reached out to her literally 3 days ago, and I said I would love to help you grow your podcast. And when I talked to her today, she really indicated that was a pivot. That was a moment where she said, I'm going to do this. Like, I am going to take advantage.
Yes.
And then she connected the dots, figured out who I was, who I knew, and who all the other people on the Parade Deck. And she said that she's like, I looked through, I saw people I knew. I saw people that look like me, that has gone through this struggle of having a voice and wanting to be heard. And so that's just a real example that just happened today. So I'm really excited to work with her because, she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to use YouTube. She's a perfect candidate for like Joey's classes, in our courses. She's a perfect example to get with you and Shelly and Mario, and have us come around her and focus on her voice and promote it. So, I mean, if you follow me or you or any of our creators on LinkedIn, you can tell we promote each other.
Yes.
And what I'm seeing is that now that we're promoting each other, there are other people promoting us. It's just, I saw it today happening and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. But back to your question, if you're wanting to start a podcast, and everybody wants to do a podcast these days. So I think the first thing is to kind of set expectations. And I think that Parade Deck really helps with that. We can take those first basic steps of helping you understand, what does it mean to actually create a podcast? So I think, and these are kind of numbers that I hear and have experienced, somebody can normally do 10 episodes, but after 10 episodes, they kind of die out. And I went and did a search the other day for the top military podcasts. Now, I don't know, did you see my list I made? I put the top 10 top female military.
I did. I
don't know if you were on our group yet, or I don't know if I put.
No, you just did one recently.
I did one recently. I did one all military, and then I did one just female, because 50% of the links I went to on the search results when I put in military podcast did not work. or that podcaster had not done a new episode for over a year.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, you know what? And I did it that day. I mean, I was like, I'm going to make my own podcast list.
That's a need.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
I was
need.
like,
yeah.
And somebody's like, what was your criteria? I'm like, I didn't have it. They were breathing. They were alive. They had a podcast that they put out in the last month. They were in the military. That was my criteria. I didn't base it on like how many views or downloads. And maybe we'll do that in the future. But I wanted to get a relevant list of podcasts that related to the military community. And so I did those two initial lists, but someone that wants to get into the content creation. So I was taught this early on by my mentor. There are creators, there's content creators, and then there are professional content creators. And so there's a difference between, you could just create content, but unless you have an intent for that content, so you can be a content creator, but to transition over to that influencer that content is actually influencing somebody to make a pivot or to learn from or to take away from. So I would recommend, if you want to get into a podcast, I guess I'll use the old marketing. What's your call to action, or what is your potential influence on the market? Because if you're just a content creator, what I think I messed up when I first said just content creator and then an influencer and then a professional content creator. But if you're just a content creator, you're basically just kind of doing it as a hobby.
Right.
But and you can still influence people with a hobby, but to make that transition, I think you need to have a purpose of this is why I'm creating this content and this is what I want to influence. And is that, just one thing like criminal justice or, bringing more attention to military spouses or, entrepreneurship. So I think you need to focus on like, what's your topic? What's your theme going to be? And then start to build that cadence of your weekly or monthly or whatever your podcast schedule is going to be. But I think just to know that you do have a right to have a podcast. So it doesn't matter if you've been trained or not trained, you still have a right to have a voice, and you have a right to be amplified. I call it the fog of social media. So you've got, people just see those big ones, right? Like the million, the podcasters like with 1 million followers,
multiple millions of downloads and have the big corporate sponsors.
Yeah. Realistically, most of us aren't going to get there. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo the dream, right? But especially on YouTube, it's a long game. I mean, it takes years, or you're just someone of, I don't know, you're a Navy SEAL, and all of a sudden, you've got some attention anyway, and you leverage that. So I guess it is, how do we leverage who you are and your voice to get you to where you want to be, and know that it is going to be a long game. It's going to be, you just aren't going to go from 1 subscriber to 10 million and start monetizing it overnight. So I think helping, creating expectations, and then, I'll finish with this, creating multiple channels and multiple ways. If your goal is to monetize, let's just don't put all of our eggs in the YouTube basket. If I can make you money being a keynote speaker, or if I can help you generate revenue by creating courses, things like that, let's kind of spread it out a little bit. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a really long haul trying to become the next YouTube, influencer with, 1 million followers. But I have a friend, he's a veteran, Navy veteran. He started out with me 4 years ago, just doing simple PowerPoint videos on what was going on in boot camp. And now he's got this huge studio. He's got 3,000 followers on YouTube, but that took 3 or 4 years for him to grow. And now he's not trying to monetize. He's just trying to make good content and help recruit families and veterans see, here's what's going on in the Marine Corps this week. Here's what's going on at MCRD San Diego. And so, but it's taken him 4 years to generate a little under 3,000 followers. But I've seen the growth and how he's made a lot of pivots on his software that he uses. He's on Parade Deck, and so Anyway, that was a long answer to your question. But I think the first step is just reaching out. Reach out to me, reach out to you, reach out, be part of our community. There's a free, there's paid memberships, but you can be on our free plan. That'll get you on the parade deck. We'll start promoting you. Believe me, we will promote you, and we will work with you to start your journey. So
to start your journey, yeah. I mean, that's the thing to start. And make the right connections. And that's something that I'm asked by both spouses and the sponsor. Because we understand how the military community works, and there can be some big restrictions. There can be some setbacks. There could be some unexpected. Oh no, you're going here for I don't know how long, but you're going. It's like did I batch create? I should have batch created. But it doesn't have to. Your service, you or your family service, does not have to stop you from doing anything that you want to do as an entrepreneur, whether it's a content creator or, you could be wanting to have your next famous clothing line designer. I don't know. You can sell widgets. It doesn't matter. Your military career doesn't have to stop it. You just have to, one, be willing to do the work and start, and two, making the right connections, being open to make the right connections so that someone can help guide you through that process, a step at a time.
I'm gonna go back to that question because I kind of missed a big part of it, and you may have been asking that, and I went off on a tangent. As active duty, and this is just me, my guidance to you. If you're active duty, there's a lot of unknowns in the world of social media and the military, and each branch has its own rules, its own standards, its own thoughts and beliefs about what you can and can't do on social media. And I'm not going to go through and tell you I know what those rules are, because I do not. But I do know this. Make sure that you're letting your command know what you're doing.
Yes. Even
to the point going to JAG, going to legal, and asking them. 99% of the time, my opinion, you're probably going to be just fine. Ensuring, and this young lady was telling me this. She's like, she was a little bit nervous about that mix of personal and military, but she was pretty adamant she had a right to do this, and she was going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I love that. But if you're going to go into that in your active duty, you have to be prepared for the backlash, I'll just say. And hopefully, I'm an optimist, which is probably bad in some cases, but as long as you have that approval from your command and they know what you're doing, then the rest is just noise. The rest are just people. Part. Yeah, they're envious, they're jealous, they don't understand.
They're closed-minded.
They're closed-minded. So just make sure you draw that line. My command, everybody else. Because the command, and then be prepared to stick up for yourself. I think that's the hard part.
Yes.
And Parade Deck can help with that. We're not legal services, but connecting with the other creators who've gone through that. And we have creators that have gone through legal that got Mario will give you a good testimonial on his battles with social media. And then, some other, female podcasters that we have, they can tell you. And the one thing they've told me consistently, make sure you have a disclosure, like, hey, I don't represent DOD. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Marine Corps or whatever branch it is. Everything I'm saying and expressing is my own opinion. So, there are certain things that you need to do. But once you have that approval and once you've been transparent, then you go for it. Then go, and if you need to pivot, and if somebody comes and says, hey, you probably shouldn't have said that. All right, I won't say it, I'll go out and correct myself and move on. I just wanted to throw that in, that make sure you go to your command and just at least get as much. And if your direct supervisor is closed-minded, go figure, in the military, take it on up.
That goes around a lot in the military.
Yeah, don't stop. Get advice, get guidance, go to legal. You have, you were saying that earlier. You have a right to do these things.
You do.
And it's hard. And it's easy for me to sit here and preach this is easy. It's not. I know it's not.
Yeah, I
It's
know
hard.
two military influencers. They happen to both be chaplains.
Hmm.
One is a gentleman, and one's an African American male, and one is an African American female. And they're pretty big influencers on Facebook and TikTok.
Hmm.
Um, but they're speaking, not only are they speaking the truth of God's words, but they're also speaking the truth towards what it means to be military families. And, they're just speaking the truth, period, point blank. And oftentimes I've seen posts where both of them are getting that immediate backlash from their peers, whether they're currently on active duty, retired, and even sometimes family members, because you have to have been a part of the military or currently in it to understand
Hmm.
the culture. Like, there's not enough podcasts to explain why they're getting the backlash
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they're getting. But when you know. And
yeah.
recently, the female chaplain made a pretty big post and did a video, and she basically kind of outlined what you just said. Listen, this is my right to do this.
Mhm.
I'm not breaking any UCMJ. My chain of command, wherever I go, is well aware. They got to be at this point because she's a huge influencer.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're aware of what I do. It doesn't break UCMJ. My chain of command is aware. Now, that didn't mean they liked it, but they're aware. And because she's
Mhm.
not breaking any rules and she's not disparaging the military, she's not painting
Mhm.
them in a bad light. It just is what it is. She don't care about what you think. I mean, you could
Yeah.
keep the comments coming because that makes her engagement go up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it is so tough. I'm telling you, I know it, and I have one Instagram that's fairly large, but it doesn't even have my name or face. It's totally a business. I still get my feelings hurt when somebody
Mhm.
kind of like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, or you shouldn't be doing that. And if you're going to become a content creator and an influencer, don't let other people compromise your message. I think
Yes.
that's really important. You don't,
Very
even the
important.
military. I
Very
mean,
important.
and yeah, it's like that chaplain said. I've got my message. I'm going to keep on point. We have a Facebook group, and I had somebody tell me one day we were talking about God too much. I'm like, I didn't even
And
know
why
that
are you in the
existed.
group? Like,
I'm like, yeah,
why
like
are you in the group?
you can go to another group.
Exactly.
We had that same group. We had a mom who was posting prayers on another group, and they got on her, and she called me in tears. I'm like, come on over. You can pray as much as you want on
Right.
our channel. So
On your
yeah,
and
it's
that's
hard.
the
Yeah.
thing. Like, we all have freedoms and liberties.
Hmm.
I just like, you have the freedom and liberty to not want to hear what I'm saying, just like you invited yourself to the group and I accepted you. You
Yeah.
have the ability to uninvite yourself from the group, because
Yeah.
if you came to the group, the description of the group is very clear. It's very clear. Then see
It's
your
very
way
clear.
out.
Yeah.
And that's really what both chaplains have. I've seen them say that repeatedly. You feel free to unfollow me and block me at any given time.
Yeah.
I'm a chaplain. I'm going to talk about Jesus. Like, and chaplains, y'all, they come across all faith systems, whether it's Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter, Christian, as a whole, the military. And I'm a Christian, but everybody in the planet isn't. And I think that
Hmm.
our chaplaincy systems do a pretty good job of providing chaplains for the numerous faith systems so that they can have someone that they can connect with. And that's
Hmm.
what you don't have to follow me. I'm a Christian chaplain. You don't like that?
Hmm.
Follow a chaplain that's in alignment with what you think,
I
and we
just
won't
looked
have these
at
problems.
Yeah, I just looked that statistic up not too long ago, how many faiths are recognized in the military. So I can't remember the new number, but it was 220. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of faiths that are represented. And I'm
That,
always talking up the chaplains. I mean,
yeah.
that's
I
probably,
mean,
yeah.
even before we left Graph, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call them a chaplain. I don't know what they're called, but the polar opposite of our faith system, which
Mhm.
would be a satanic faith system, they even have services and faith leaders for them, or allow
Mhm.
their faith leaders. Like, so you have an outlet in the military, y'all that are
Mhm.
not. I know I said what I said, but it's legal. under the federal government. They have to provide for them. The point is here, as military families and active duty service members who desire to be entrepreneurs, who desire to do the things that you want to do while on active duty, you can do it as long as it doesn't break any rules and you figure out how to make it fit in your schedule. Like it can happen. And it doesn't matter where you're stationed at when you're doing it. Like even with our sponsors, they're active duty. They have
that was good to hear that.
Yeah. They have a clothing line. When they initially partnered with us, they were stationed in Virginia. And so that time in Virginia was up and they moved to the UK and they've been there a couple of years and that time is going to be up and they're going to move to wherever they're going to move to. But they're still able to enjoy their entrepreneurial journey while on active duty because they did the legwork to find out what they could and couldn't do, like what Andrew said, and they keep their business in alignment with that, and they make sure that it does not break UCMJ, and then they're good. So you can be whatever you want to be, no matter where you are in your military community. Now, with that being said, my husband was an Intel analyst. And so there were some things that he just couldn't do that everybody else would do.
Right.
Keep things in mind, people.
Yeah.
When it comes to your clearance, keep things in mind.
Yeah, I mean, we had somebody actually had to leave the platform actually because of security. They had to actually leave all their social media.
Yep.
And they even pinged me the other day, like, "Are you sure I'm completely off?" I'm like, "Yes, you're completely off."
Completely off. Yeah, like
And what was kind of funny, I was like, "Oh, that kind of makes me feel good. Like we're actually a social media platform that somebody has to get off of." Like,
yeah, I mean,
that's a huge compliment.
And I would have taken it as a compliment too. But that person should have done their due diligence first beforehand. And or either did it and waited on the response. I know sometimes, depending on what you do, the response to your question could take months. You just have to be patient.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You have to be patient and wait on that response before you jump out and start to do something that you have to backpedal. But bottom line is you can do it. And I'm definitely happy to hear the story of the young lady and look forward to in the future, connecting with her, seeing what she, the things on her podcast and promoting her podcast, because we all have a story. We all have a voice and we deserve to be heard.
Yeah, I love it. I think when I got off that phone call, I was so excited. I'm like, this is exactly why I created I created Parade Deck out of a necessity. So I was on Instagram doing a live Instagram, whatever you call it. And I was like, how do people even know I'm on here? Like, because there was no scheduler on Instagram at the time. So ironically, when I launched Parade Deck, Instagram launched their calendar platform the same month.
Wow.
So, and then they sent me a cease and desist letter. No, because originally I had Instagram in the name of the original Parade Deck. It wasn't called Parade Deck. It was called like Instagram TV Guide or something, just something like, oh, it's a TV guide for Instagram. And I literally got a letter saying, hey, you cannot use our name in this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then so I went through my list of URLs and I'm like, Parade Deck, where everything important takes place. That's how it is in the Marine Corps. That's where it actually came from. So it's like, I was at an event the other day and somebody said, what does Parade Deck mean? And the guy who asked me was Army. And then there was another Marine and myself and maybe an Air Force. So I'm like, well, before I tell you, you tell me what the Parade Deck is, like in your terms. And they all had some weird answer about it. I'm like, I never even heard of that term. And
like in the Army, we do a lot of things on the parade field. But
yeah, you got parade field. One of them says like it's an area of a boat or something like what? Yeah. And so then the Marine, I was about to say what I was going to say, and this other Marine said it's sacred ground. I was like, oh my gosh, that is it. Like, because that's how I describe it. So when I got that kind of that concept going in my head of like the Parade Deck is where everything important takes place, promotions, graduations, and you don't walk. I don't know how it is in the Army, but at a Marine Corps base, you don't walk on the Parade Deck. I mean, unless you have a reason. to
walk
be on
out.
the parade deck.
Yeah, ceremonies are held on the parade field. Hail and farewells, like you said, promotion ceremonies, changing commands, different things like that. I don't know. Well, I wasn't the active duty service members, but I'm gonna ask my husband: did it feel sacred, or was it where you do all people went to pass out? Like,
yeah. So I mean
depends on how long you out
that
there
really
formation.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've been like,
bend your
but no, I
knees.
mean that really inspired me to follow that theme of it. It's where everything important takes place in my world, right? In my Christian world, everybody's important. There's not one person that doesn't deserve for their voice to be heard.
Right.
And I think it's our job as Christians, but as faith, walking our faith, it's important for us to help them do that. Like and I think I'm going to go off here in a second. So I think a lot of these influencers and creators that have all these followers, they're not selfish. I don't want to say they're selfish. They're great people. They do amazing podcasts. They have amazing guests, but they are a little isolated within their own lane, which I'm not saying is bad, but the parade deck isn't like that. We've got a 10-lane highway here going, and we want to get people in those lanes, and we want to help them in their journey. And so I think that's one of the biggest difference in what we do and what YouTube is a tennis type. I'll use that metaphor. Like they're a tennis sport. It's a one-on-one. It's YouTube and you. It's YouTube and this creator. It's YouTube and the million other creators. And that's fine. And Instagram is the same way, but Parade Deck is not that way. We try to amplify all the channels. So it doesn't matter if you're a Spotify or YouTuber, whatever you're on, but we do want to make sure that we're a team sport, that we're doing this together. And just because we're helping you with your YouTube, we're actually helping you do that for our community.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the big difference between Parade Deck and other channels.
Like it's truly a community. Yes, the people within the community are in some shape, form, or fashion associated with the military, but all of the creatives on Parade Deck have their different areas of genius.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
You can come and say whatever your area of genius is, and you can be able to add value to the other group, or you can come as a new creator and say, okay, this is what I want to do. You can find someone in our community that is doing that, and they're happy to connect with you and to help you grow in that area. So it's definitely, it's the true definition of community is what I would say. It's like, it's a true definition of community. Yeah.
That's great. And people ask me, like, is there a criteria? Like, how do I, become part of the Parade Deck? And when you start a business, you probably think, I want to conquer the world, make millions of dollars, all of this. And I have no idea where where Parade Deck is going to go. Because the bigger you get, the more challenges you have with rules, right? Look at Facebook and, all these large social media platforms, it's almost become their job, to
ban and block.
Yeah. To ban and block. Yeah. So when people ask me, what is there, do I have to be this kind of content? And, right now, what I say back to them is, as long as you're wanting to be part of a community, and then I tell them, I don't curse myself. So if you bring clean content, I don't mind every once in a while if you use a little foul language. I'm not going to be, but there really is, outside of that, no other qualifications to be part of the Parade Deck. Whatever your story, whatever your past, whatever you're bringing, to the community and to the world around you, you're welcome on the Parade Deck. It's just, you want to be part of a community and you want to share in that. Now, will everybody always do that? No. Are there some creators on Parade Deck that are more active than others? Yes. But they set the example, and I will tell you, yourself and, there's probably 15 or 20 other creators. Every time that you guys are tagging people, I know that that's making a difference.
Yes.
I know that it's reminding those other creators that maybe aren't participating as much. Somebody cares about me. Somebody's promoting me. Somebody's, and maybe, I saw somebody the other day actually repost something from Parade Deck that hadn't been active. And I think it was because we probably kept promoting them and they were like, hey, maybe I should help promote them. So,
and it does work like that. Like there is I don't want to say there's no way because I don't know everything, but the easiest way to grow and expand your influence is through a network. Mm-hmm. It's through a community of a network. Whether I have 1,000 followers that my content is going out to, and Andrew has 1,000 followers, and Joey's got 5,000 followers, and Shelly's got 10,000 followers. As a part of that community, and we're all supporting each other's content. I've not just had the opportunity to reach my 1,000 people, but now I've had the opportunity to reach the people that are in my community's network. And that's never a negative. That's never a negative. Like
you nailed it. I mean, when I say we've got 5.8 million, that's those people like that. And I make it really clear when I say that number like that. Those aren't people that follow Parade Deck, but as a community, they follow us together. And I think that ripple effect people will start seeing that. So when people do join the Parade Deck, sometimes they're a little, I'll be honest, they're a little confused as to like, why do I need to be on the Parade Deck? And they'll say that, then they'll also say, it just seems like I should be. Like there's this question of like, I see something happening here. I'm not sure I can put my finger on it, but I see it. And that's not probably a good marketing strategy for me to lean on that tagline, but I know what they mean. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm not quite sure either. I just know it works. And I know that we're growing and I know we're making a difference. So yes, you should probably be part of this community.
Come on, that absolutely. When you have a thriving community, a thriving, productive community that's all about building up its community members, it can't help but to grow.
Yeah,
it can't help
flywheel.
Parade Deck as a community will grow, but the thing is, as Parade Deck as a community is growing, once you come onto the Parade Deck and you realize what it is and how to work, because there's like, how can Parade Deck work for me and how can I work for Parade Deck? When you figure out that groove, then it makes that individual grow, whether it's your company, whether your personal brand, or however you're showing up on the Parade Deck. You see that growth. And you see, but I don't know about anyone else, but for me, the support is the biggest thing. Like I remember the first few times other community members on Parade Deck pushed out my stuff. I'm like, well, who is this? I have no idea who you are. Let me go find out who you are, and let me like and follow and share the love of your stuff, because you have no clue who I am, but you're sharing the love for my stuff. Like, yes, that's how you build and grow. And it is, as a creator, it's tough in these streets. Emotionally, psychologically, like it can be tough in these streets. We need a supportive hug from time to time, and you get that in the Parade Deck.
Yeah, you are just, I'm about to tear up here. You are just nailing it. I mean, like, that is it. There is not enough time in the day for me to do all the supporting that I want to do. It's not, because, and I can't even imagine if we just doubled our creator count, what I would do. And that's why I'm trying to figure out how we scale this in a way that, and you kind of nailed it. In my mentor tells me, like, Andrew, it's not your responsibility to do all of this stuff. That's why we have the community.
Right.
And you literally just said that, but I love nothing more than to post about somebody's YouTube video or a podcast. And the other thing you left out is, and I think this is so important, we work with you with your blog post. I think probably need to come up with a new name for blog. But one of the things that we try to do when we do an article for somebody, we promote their guest as well. Like,
that's sweet. That's sweet.
That's the part we don't even count. Like, that's not even part of our 5.8 million. it's the person you interviewed, and now we're tagging them
Mm-hmm.
in LinkedIn or on social media, and we're pumping them up. Man, you just made a pivot in somebody's life, you know.
Absolutely.
And again, it's hard when I get up in the morning. I'm like, trying to promote, and literally there's not enough time in the day. But when I do it, I feel so good. And I'm not making any money on that. Like, we're a startup. We lose money,
Yeah.
but
But
we get so much favor
but the
by,
currency you get back in that,
yeah,
like
yeah.
in that chapter of my book where I'm talking about, the your network is in your net worth. One of the
Mhm.
things that I point out is currency. The currency that we get off of these networking relationships that we're building is not always fiat currency. As a matter of fact, the fiat currency is the least of it.
Yeah.
Like we all need to make money because we got bills. So we're not gonna be super deep on that, y'all. We got bills to pay. We understand that. But the currency that is most important are those relationships that you're cultivating through the network that you don't even realize how much of an impact you're landing. Like I
Mhm.
was just I reached out to Enrique because I had a question. He had accomplished a goal. He had accomplished something, and I need to know how he did that. Like, bro, let me get on your calendar. I will pay your time, but I need you to tell me how you did that.
Mhm.
Enrique being who he is, of course, he didn't charge me for the conversation, but we hopped on a Zoom call and he was talking me through and answering the questions. And he mentioned Parade Deck about 10 times.
I think, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned Parade Deck about 10 times. And I'm like, what is Parade Deck and how do I get here? And based off of what he said, not just the answer to my question,
Mhm.
but the thing that he elaborated on was the support, the community, and the value add to being a part of that community. That was the reason that I was like, okay, let me get out here and let
That's
me do
awesome.
this, because I know, like, and trust Enrique. I didn't know you yet, but
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
Enrique had that kind of faith and trust and you were a part of that answer, Parade Deck was a part of that answer, then I needed to get there. That's a currency.
Mhm. I
That's a
love that.
currency to because I know Enrique. I'm not the only person he shared that with.
Oh, when I hear
I know,
people
but
say that, I'm
I'm
like,
not the only person
yeah.
he shared that with. And then because of the relationship now, I've shared Parade Deck with other people. Like
Mhm.
this is where y'all want to be. That's the type of currency that builds your brand, builds your business, but most importantly, it builds the self-confidence of the the creator. It builds the self-confidence of the individual that helps you grow professionally and personally. And that's going to impact your business. The greatest currency we can have is the relationships. That
Yeah.
for me, it's the relationships, and everything else, the money is going to come. It has to. But the
Yeah.
relationships to help get you there, oh yeah. You have to be in the right place to get that. To
Yeah.
get that
Somebody.
because
Oh, go ahead.
because like as business owners, we all have to make a profit. But being inside of this community, it's not profit driven. It
Mhm.
is relationship driven. We all have to
Yeah.
make a profit. We all have a business that we're running. Everything ain't free 99. Some stuff might be, but
Yeah.
everything ain't free 99. But the relationships that you're building with people, that currency is the greatest thing that you can get that will help you get to the place where my business is growing. These things like the help you guys are giving with the blog articles, putting my blog articles out. Like I put blog articles out in different
Mhm.
spaces, but to be partnered with Parade Deck and have my blog article going out in even more spaces, I
Mhm.
can't pay for that. That's worth more than the monthly fee that I pay to be a part of the community.
Yeah, it's interesting. We just made an upgrade today for SEO. So we do have amazing technology behind the Prey Deck. Just kind of throw that out there. We spend a lot of time building out those SEO technology, and that's what I was doing today. I created a Cloudflare. Have you ever heard of Cloudflare?
Have not.
But Cloudflare, they're kind of a security site, so they secure the website, they secure a lot of the indexing on Google. So I created an account with them today because it helps promote. So when we do those blog articles for you, we were having issues with like the images coming across. You know how you share a link and then some odd image will show up and you're like, what the heck is that?
Right.
So I fixed that today. I'm like, there has got to be a way to fix this. And I figured it out. It took me about 2 hours to figure out like, why is that happening? And I had to go in and do some technical stuff. And our website actually went down for like an hour today, unexpectedly. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But this customer service in the company, they like, oh, it was just this one setting, and he changed it. Everything came back online. But my point is, the technology behind those blog articles that we put out for you are even going to get better because now we have that Cloudflare tool built into it, where it's going to actually be indexed by Google even more.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm really excited because we have a lot of people that do that, the articles. So
yeah, from the blog articles, the tools that you have to help the creators create the short form video, which short form video is all like short form video is it. And if you're not doing it, you should be. And understand you don't have the time to do that, but the partnerships and the relationships that you have taken the time to build through the Parade Deck, even the thing like I've been trying to sit here to think about how can I write an article about the Marine Corps because it may get picked up by the Stars and Stripes. And for those of you that are not, in the military, that may mean nothing to you. But Stars and Stripes is a pretty big thing for us in the military community. And not to have to go through all of the hoops because you've already cultivated that relationship and have the potential to have something that I've written to show up in Stars and Stripes. Oh, that's amazing because I want to reach my military community. And that's no better way to do that.
Stars and Stripes. Yeah. I mean, they were one of our first promoters. We had, I think this was before you came on. We had the 24-hour live stream.
Yeah, that was before me.
That was before. So they were our sponsor for that. And when I say sponsor, I want to say it wasn't, and I say this as a compliment to them. They said, we can't financially support it, but we can promote it and we can be part of it. And
that's worth its weight in gold.
I'm like, are you kidding? That's amazing.
That's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. So we started from there and now they're really, a partner with us. And like you said, they said, hey, give us some articles, happen to be about the Marine Corps, but from some of your creators, and we'll push that out. They've got a big event coming at the end of June. I'll come on later and tell more about that. But we have one of our creators is actually going to be kind of the Parade Deck celebrity at that event. And Stars and Stripes is helping promote that. So, yeah, I'm very excited about that. Thank you, Stars and Stripes. And then that short clip, Opus, is a company that we partnered with for that. So Opus Clips, the short form videos. And that's becoming a very crowded space.
I bet
really
it is.
Quickly.
It is. I know it. Like, wow.
Just in the last 24 hours, somebody's like, oh, I'm using this. I'm using that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing that AI just came out. Like,
but it's such an amazing blessing. It's an amazing tool and a blessing. And, I know when I came on board Opus Clips, because of our partnership with Parade Deck at that time, it was absolutely free.
Yeah, it's still free. I mean,
and it's hey, why not? Like the two tools inside of the Parade Deck for the small nominal fee of what I pay to be a part of the community. I couldn't have paid for both of those tools for that fee to have. And just, like I said, yes, you might be like, LaQuita, you are promoting this a lot because I really believe in it. Like, guys that have followed me for a while, I don't promote everything and everybody, but on this particular platform, hands down, we'll promote it because it is a blessing to those that are in the community. But like anything else, don't just join and pay your fee and do nothing with it. That's a waste of your money. Join, learn how it works, engage, and again, it's worth its weight in gold. The rate of return that you'll get back, your ROI on that will be phenomenal. Yeah, absolutely. Your ROI on that will be phenomenal. You cannot go wrong.
And I can show you our list of creators, and I can show you the ones that have seen growth and the ones that haven't. And it's exactly what you just said. It's, you just can't come in and be part of it. You've got to, engage, and it doesn't have to be over the top. Doesn't have to be every day. But you just have to use the tools. And I think that's where the shift is going to happen is, when we scale this, I can't sit there all day and promote. So we've got to figure that out. So I think if you're part of the community, kind of your obligation, I guess. And I've actually heard this from other creators, young creators in their 20s said, Andrew, you need to have expectations of your creators. And that's kind of scary, right? Like I'm going to ask you to pay, and then I'm going to ask you, I need you to do this as well.
I agree.
I don't know if there's any other models out there that do that, but these are and I take it, serious because a young creator is telling me that and older creators. And it's like, you need to have expectations. If you're going to provide this platform, they need to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So
you have to. I've been dormant in some groups and got kicked out. But it was on me because I wasn't fulfilling my obligation. I wasn't meeting the expectation of the group. And they were very clear about that going in. And sometimes when we have a clear expectation, yes, when you have a price tag on it and there's a clear expectation of what that individual needs to bring to the table to, like I joined the organization last night, and one of the questions on the forum before they would take any of my money was, what value do you have to add to the group? What value are you bringing to the table? This is a group I want to be a part of, that I am willing to pay money to be a part of. And a part of their questionnaire before I could submit payment to them for anything, I had to clearly outline the value that I was going to bring to the group. So I agree with that. Like we all are at different spaces. And yes, I come to the group to learn. But no matter where you are, you have something to give. And if you don't see the value in you to do any giving at any time, you're going to be one of those people that just sit dormant in the group.
Yep.
You're going to be one of the people that sit dormant in the group. And then some people take personal accountability, and it was like, I don't even know what Parade did this because I didn't do anything. I just paid my money and I didn't do anything. So maybe I'll retry them again when I have time. But unfortunately, the thing that most often happens is when we're dormant in groups, we expected it to be the magic pill that fixed our problem. And I'm going to pay you this money and I'm going to be a part of this group, and boom, bam, my problem is going to be fixed because now I'm in this group that says they're going to promote me, but I ain't never got to show up. Well, where we do that at?
And then they tell other people, I tried it. It didn't work.
It didn't work. But like, what did you do? Like you didn't do anything. And so I definitely agree. And let me be honest, y'all. I was that person at a time in my entrepreneurship journey where I thought being a part of certain organizations, affiliation with certain organizations, was going to be the cure for my problem, or it was going to take me on a fast track to fame and fortune. No, that don't work. You still got to do the work.
You got to be obedient, be very obedient. And so, but I'm so glad you're part of our community. You bring so much to it. I mean, I can always count on you, especially our new mighty community that we have, our internal, because that, it takes a lot to get people. Now I'm asking even more, right? Like, all right, now you're signed up here and I need to go over here. But it is growing. People, I think, once they get on it. But the full on, hopefully we'll have an app one day. That's kind of one of our goals. It is expensive to do an app, but I think more important, you have to be prepared to build the app. I think that's if we built it today, we probably would build it wrong. So
that's true, because you got to see you've got to learn what your community needs or wants, and build what they, not just what you think but what we actually want. Because if it ain't what we want, we're not gonna engage. We're not gonna do the things and stuff required to keep it going. Yeah. So
as an entrepreneur, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is like and even like you ask, we'll end on what we started with. Like if you're a new creator, I guess you tell me, when you do a podcast, you're not doing it. You shouldn't be doing it just to hear yourself talk.
Right.
So I think you need to still investigate what message do people want to hear? What does my experience, my past, my ideas, all of this can bring to the community, and how do I deliver that in a meaningful way and authentic, where people want to listen to it. So I think it's the same thing. What does your audience or your perceived audience actually want from you, and not necessarily what you think? Because I think if we go with we think, it probably is not going to work. It may work for your best friends, like, I'll listen to you once in a while. But
you're right. And that was a hard thing to reframe my mind. Like, what does my intended audience, my target audience, what do they want? Doing the research to discover that takes time. And I'd suggest that you do that. The other thing that I also suggest is, especially if you're going to be a podcaster, when you put those first 30 episodes out and you really study the analytics, you will find out what they want versus what they don't want.
Amen. Yep.
And the ones that were successful, keep doing more things like that. And your audience will shift over time too, right? Like, and you'll see, okay, this went good here, that didn't go so good over there. Like, you have to pay attention to what the audience is telling you. And they're going to tell you that through your analytics, through your downloads. They may never comment. They may never write a review. But the time they spend listening to your episode will tell you a lot.
I looked at some of these analytics the other day, and I don't know why. I shouldn't have been surprised, but 75% of their listeners were 65 years and above. And we're trying to help them grow, but we're trying to go after a younger community with the approach that seemingly only 65 year.
Then that's not going to work.
That ain't going to work. Yeah. So
that
was kind of a wake up, because they have great content. I love their content. But when I thought about it, the people who are watching it are the people that are in it. Like, they're people that are older, like they're older veterans, and they're watching it because they're reliving what they actually experienced.
Yeah.
And so, so it's kind of like, now I've got to really kind of digest that and figure like, okay, how do we take this content that older people love and turn it into content where younger people want to learn from?
Yeah.
And so we got to
I'd love to see how that's going to work out.
Me too.
I'd love to see how that's going to work out.
We already have a plan. I have a plan. I'm trying to get the owner of the content to go along with it. But it's going to be more of a learning experience of history versus reminiscing of where I've been and done, and so we're going to use AI to help with this. So we already started, so it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I want to see that journey. I want to see that journey, and I'm gonna watch it with my husband to see his reaction, because he would be that older. Well, he's not 65, of course, but
no, yeah.
But
and Joey's helping me with this. So everybody, if you don't know who Joey is, gotta
you're
get on the
find
parade
out
deck to meet Joey. But he's amazing, man. Joey is like rock solid, Marine Corps Reserve, and he knows not only just from his content, but he actually works for a major content creator, like big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he brings a lot of value.
He does. He brings a lot of value to the table. But look, I know I have totally busted my time limit. I got.
I'm sorry. That was my fault.
No, it's more me than you, because hey. But having these great conversations, it's always fun. It's always super, super fun to have these great conversations and, be able to bring value to the LaQuita's Toolbox community. And today was definitely one of those conversations. But before we let you go, Andrew, please let everyone in the Toolbox community know how to reach you, and also let us know about any upcoming events that you have that we can connect to.
So normally I'd say you can find me on the Parade Deck, which I love to hear people say, but I actually don't have an account on my own platform. But you can find all of our content, and LaQuita's content on paradedeck.com. You can just click on all creators, see everybody on there. You can go to our event space. So we actually have an event tonight to celebrate Military Appreciation Month. It starts at 7:30 Eastern time. So just go to the events on paradedeck.com, click on it. If you see this at a later point, it's going to be on demand, so you can watch it for free later. But we have 3 amazing veterans: Mario Field, Sergeant Major retired, Tony Taylor, and then Enrique, Navy veteran. Tony's Marine Corps veteran, are going to be hosting that tonight. But we always have podcasts on our schedule that you can go and sign up for. But you can find me on LinkedIn. So I'm breaking my rule here. Like, you can find me on LinkedIn, Appleton AB or Andrew Appleton. But you can also just reach me on Parade Deck as well. So yeah, very excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, guys, those links will be in the show notes. So check the show notes for the highlights of the episode, as well as to be able to connect with Andrew to find out more about how to partner with the Parade Deck. And if you are listening and you are, a company that would like to bring sponsorships, not only to the LaQuita's Toolbox, but also to the Parade Deck, the contact information will be included in the show notes. But guys, until next time, I am your host, LaQuita Monley. You guys be great and have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. Take care. God bless.